Chairman, Commissioners, we're live to go. Ready when you are.
Thank you, and I know we have the court reporter. Okay, we're going on the record. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Maryland Public Service Commission's hearing in case numbers 9056 and 9064 with respect to default standard offer service for both residential customers and small commercial customers. We'll begin today by taking appearances of the parties, beginning with Office of People's Counsel.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Nikki Wiggins here on behalf of Office of People's Counsel.
Thank you. Commission Staff Counsel.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Lloyd Spivak for the Commission staff.
Thank you. Baltimore Gas and Electric.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Beverly Sakura on behalf of Baltimore Gas and Electric Company.
Good afternoon. PHI.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman of Commissioners. Matthew Seegers appearing for Pepco and Delmarva Power.
Thank you. And Potomac Edison.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Jeffrey Trout, Potomac Edison.
Thank you. At this point, we will hear from our staff. Oh, Mr. Spivak, you may be on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Commission staff has Frank Mossberg of Bates White Consulting and Drew McAuliffe of the Commission's Electricity Division to give their testimony today. We call Frank Mossberg to the stand, please.
Thank you. Mr. Mossberg, if you could please raise your right hand and you'll be sworn in by the Executive Secretary.
Mr. Mossberg, do you solemnly swear under the penalties of perjury that the statement you make today in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Spivak, your witness.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Mr. Mossberg.
Good afternoon, Mr. Spivak.
Do you have in front of you a document titled Direct Testimony of Frank Mossberg, Bates White, LLC, on behalf of the staff of the Public Service Commission of Maryland and dated with today's date?
I do.
And is the document captioned in Commission case numbers 9056 and 9064?
It is.
Okay. Did you prepare this document or was it prepared under your direct supervision?
I did.
Does the document consist of 8 pages of question and answer testimony and 1 page with 2 tables on it?
It does.
Do you have any additions, deletions, or other corrections you wish to make at this time?
I do not.
And if the questions were asked of you now as they are asked in this document, would your answers be the same?
They would.
Mr. Chairman, staff requests that the direct testimony of Mr. Mossberg be marked as Staff Exhibit 1 and moves that it be admitted into the evidentiary record.
So marked as Staff Exhibit 1 and without hearing any objection, moved into evidence.
Mr. Mossberg, can you give us a brief summary of the contents of this document, please?
Certainly. Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Frank Mossberg from Bates White. We would recommend that you accept the results of this past Monday's bid day. This is the 3rd bid day in your 2021-22 Standard Offer Service RFP. I do note at the beginning, as I have in the past, there were a couple adjustments made that have been in place for the last several bid days, but are a departure from the standard process. First, due to the ongoing pandemic, all bids were received remotely through a single limited access Bates White email account. Only after the close of the bid window were bids distributed to the utilities. Second, for periods after June of 2023, we still don't have a capacity price from PJM, so a proxy price was used, and that price will be trued up to the actual price once that price is known and once those charges are actually incurred by the suppliers. As I was saying, we would recommend that you accept the results of this past Monday's bid. We say so for 4 reasons. First, the bidding was open, fair, and transparent. The rules were applied fairly to everyone, and all parties, including utility affiliates, were signing the same contracts and judged solely on the basis of price, and we were able to independently verify the winning bidders and winning bid prices. Second, all RFP rules were appropriately followed. Third, Prices were consistent with broader market conditions. While I can't go into real detail on the prices, I can note a couple things. First, there were no winning bids rejected due to the implementation of the price anomaly threshold, or PAT. Second, as I'm sure we're all aware, prices have been increasing rather dramatically, and energy prices are no exception. Prices are up fairly significantly, certainly over the last couple months and over the last couple of years, or several months in general. So prices are up. That's due to rising energy prices, which are driven in turn by rising natural gas prices. Finally, we will say this bid was competitive. Here I can share a few numbers. First, there were 11 bidders. That compares to 13 last October. I'm comparing to last October because that's the last time we solicited a similar mix of products. More residential supply, like in this bid day, tends to bring out larger competition. For those 11 bidders, we had 5 winners. That's compared to 9 last October. And overall, those bidders offered 3.5 megawatts roughly for every megawatt we needed. Last October, it was 4-1. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Let's see, Mr. Spivak, do you have additional questions for your witness?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Counsel from the utilities, do you seek to cross-examine the witness? Hearing none, do commissioners have questions of Mr. Mossberg? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Mossberg, for performing the analysis and providing your testimony today. Mr. Spivak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The commission staff calls Drew McAuliffe.
Thank you, Mr. McAuliffe. If you could please raise your right hand and wait to be sworn.
Mr. McAuliffe, do you solemnly swear under the penalties of perjury that the statement you make today in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Witness
Thank
is
you.
sworn.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Mr. Spivak, your witness.
Good afternoon, Mr. McAuliffe.
Good afternoon.
Do you have in front of you a document captioned in case numbers 9056 and 9064 and titled "The Commission Staff's Report on the Standard Offer Service Bidding Process and Results for 2022 through 2024, dated with today's date"?
I do.
Did you prepare this document, or was it prepared under your direct supervision?
I prepared the document.
Does it consist of 15 pages of information presented in both text and table form?
Yes, it does.
Do you have any additions, deletions, or other corrections you would like to make at this time?
I do not.
And do you adopt this document as part of your sworn testimony in this proceeding?
I do.
Mr. Chairman, staff requests that Mr. McAuliffe's this commission staff's report be marked as staff exhibit number 2 and moved into the evidentiary record.
His testimony is so marked and moved into evidence.
Mr. McAuliffe, can you give us a brief summary of the staff report, please?
Yes. Good afternoon. I'll provide a brief overview of staff's report of the estimated bill impacts of the standard offer service bidding conducted on April 11th, 2022. SOS bids were received for residential type 1 and type 2 service. The residential bill impact estimates compare average estimated bills from June 2021 to May 2022 to June 2022 to May 2023. A summary of the estimated average residential bill impacts are provided on page 1. I will now turn to the individual utilities. Please turn to page 3 for Potomac Edison. Please note that Potomac Edison bids 1 year in advance of the other utilities for residential service. Thus, the estimated average bill impact compares June 2022 to May 2023 to June 2023 to May 2024. The average total residential bill will increase 10.6%, which translates to $153 per year. The SOS portion of the bill is increasing 17.8%. Please turn to page 4 for Potomac Electric Power Company. Average total residential bills are increasing 6.4%, which translates to $111 per year. The SOS portion of the bill is increasing 9.6%. Please turn to page 5 for Delmarva Power and Light Company. Average total residential bills for Delmarva are increasing 5.7%, which translates to $107 per year. The SOS portion of the bill is increasing 12.9%. Please turn to page 6 for Baltimore Gas and Electric. Average total electric residential bills for BGE are increasing 9%, which translates to $152 per year. The SOS portion of the bill is increasing 14.1%. Please turn to page 7 for the Type 1 estimated bill impacts, which show an increase for PE, Pepco, Delmarva, and BGE. Finally, I will review the Type 2 estimated average bill impacts. Please turn to page 8. This compares estimated bills from June 2021 through August 2021 to June 2022 through August 2022. Additionally, a comparison of the SOS rates from spring to summer is provided. Please turn to page 11 for Potomac Edison. Average total bills for summer 2022 increased 50 to 60% from summer 2021, with SOS rates increasing 53% from spring to summer. Please turn to page 12 for BGE. Average total electric bills for summer 2022 are increasing 51 to 54% relative to summer 2021. SOS rates are increasing 44 to 48% from spring to summer. Please turn to page 13 for Delmarva. Average total bills for summer 2022 show an increase of 44 to 51% from summer 2021. SOS rates are increasing 29 to 39% from spring to summer. Finally, please turn to page 14 for Pepco. Average total bills for summer 2022 are increasing 63 to 70% from summer 2021, and SOS rates are increasing 42% from spring to summer. That concludes my summary. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spivak, any additional questions?
I have nothing further for the witness, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do any of the parties seek to cross-examine this witness? Hearing none, do commissioners have questions of Mr. McAuliffe? Seeing none, Mr. McAuliffe, you're excused. Thank you. Anything further, Mr. Spivak?
No, that does conclude staff's presentation this afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anything from any of the parties? Hearing none, thank you for the testimony submitted and received into evidence today. The commission will act with all due speed to issue a determination in the very near future. With that, today's hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.
The record.